Achieve mastery in any skill faster with these proven ultralearning methods. Imagine this: you're at the beginning of a journey. There's a skill you've always dreamed of mastering. Playing a musical instrument, coding, writing, or even speaking a new language. You've tried before but stumbled, distracted by the demands of life or a lack of progress. Now, picture this moment. Within weeks, you've accelerated your learning curve so rapidly that others can't help but ask, how did you do it? The secret to such transformation lies not in talent or time, but in something deeper, something intentional. It's what Scott Young calls ultralearning, a disciplined, aggressive self-education method that pushes the boundaries of what we think is possible. But today, we're going even further. We'll break down these methods, combine them with wisdom from ancient philosophy, and explore how you can unlock mastery faster than ever before. Let's start with a question. What's holding you back from achieving mastery? Is it time, motivation, or maybe the fear that you just don't have what it takes? The truth is, most of us approach learning passively. We dabble, waiting for the skill to magically stick. But real learning, ultralearning, requires us to become active participants, to wrestle with challenges and embrace discomfort. Why? Because discomfort is where growth lives. It's in the moments of struggle that your mind stretches beyond its limits. I remember the story of Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, who wrote in Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." What if we took this mindset into learning? What if every obstacle, every failure, was a chance to train our minds and accelerate mastery? Let me share a story. Imagine a young musician struggling to learn a complex piece. Every wrong note feels like failure. Frustrated, they slow down, focus on the toughest sections, and practice deliberately. This isn't mindless repetition. It's targeted effort. And over time, the impossible becomes effortless. This is the first principle of ultralearning, directness. You need to engage with the skill as you'd use it in real life. Don't just read about coding build projects. Don't just memorize vocabulary. Speak the language. Ask yourself, are you learning for the sake of learning? Or are you preparing for action? But directness isn't enough. The next step is intense focus. In our world of endless distractions, deep focus is rare. But here's the thing, your brain craves clarity. It thrives when you set clear goals and eliminate noise. Cal Newport, author of Deep Work, argues that true mastery requires uninterrupted, focused effort. So, what's stealing your attention? Social media? Endless notifications? Imagine reclaiming that energy and channeling it into your skill. But focus isn't just about removing distractions. It's about pushing your limits, challenging yourself with tasks just beyond your current abilities. Psychologists call this the zone of proximal development. It's where growth happens, but it's also where discomfort lives. And that brings us to a deeper question. How comfortable are you with discomfort? Let's pause here. Think about the last time you pushed yourself to the edge of your abilities. How did it feel? Scary? Frustrating? Or exhilarating? This leads us to another powerful principle, feedback. Feedback isn't always easy to hear, but it's essential for growth. Without it, we're blind to our weaknesses, yet many of us avoid it because it feels like criticism. Here's where the Stoics can teach us something profound. Epictetus once said, "If anyone tells you that a certain person speaks ill of you, do not make excuses about what is said of you, but answer, 'They must not know my other faults, else they would have mentioned these as well.'" What if we approached feedback this way, not as a personal attack but as a gift for improvement? When you seek feedback, you're not just asking, "What did I do wrong?" You're asking, "How can I be better?" But here's the twist. Feedback is only valuable if you act on it. This is where many learners fall short. They listen but don't apply. They hear but don't change. True mastery demands humility, the humility to admit you don't know everything and the courage to start again. Now, let's talk about the power of spaced repetition. The human brain is wired to forget. Without reinforcement, even the most profound lessons fade. Spaced repetition combats this by timing reviews at optimal intervals. It's like planting seeds and watering them just before they wilt. But here's the deeper truth. Repetition isn't about mindless review. It's about deep engagement, about asking yourself, why does this matter? Think about your life. How many times have you learned something only to forget it weeks later? Imagine if, instead, every lesson became a part of you, like a muscle strengthened through deliberate use. But there's one final principle that ties all of this together: experimentation. Mastery isn't a straight path. It's messy, unpredictable, and full of surprises. That's why experimentation is so powerful. It allows you to test ideas, explore new approaches, and discover what works for you. Thomas Edison famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." What if we adopted this mindset in our learning? Instead of fearing failure, we could embrace it as a step toward success. But here's the paradox. Experimentation requires both discipline and curiosity. Discipline keeps you grounded, ensuring you stay on track. Curiosity keeps you open to new possibilities, pushing you to explore uncharted territory. Together, they create the perfect environment for growth. Now, let's return to the original question. What's holding you back from achieving mastery? As you reflect, remember this: mastery isn't about perfection. It's about progress. It's about showing up every day, ready to learn, ready to fail, and ready to grow. And so, we've only scratched the surface of ultralearning. In the next part, we'll dive deeper into the psychology of mastery, exploring how mindset, emotions, and resilience play a crucial role in accelerating your progress. The psychology of mastery, unlocking your mind for unstoppable growth. Let's take a moment to dive deeper, not into techniques or strategies, but into the very fabric of what drives mastery: the mind. Mastery is more than a skill. It's a transformation of how you see yourself, how you approach challenges, and how you rise above setbacks. To achieve mastery faster, you need to master the invisible forces within you: your mindset, emotions, and resilience. Let me ask you something. Have you ever doubted your ability to achieve something, even when the opportunity was right in front of you? That moment of hesitation where fear and uncertainty creep in is the barrier most people never overcome. But what if you could? At the core of mastery lies a growth mindset, popularized by psychologist Carol Dweck. A growth mindset is the belief that abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work. In contrast, a fixed mindset assumes your abilities are static, that you're either naturally talented or not. Think about this: every time you say, "I'm just not good at this," you're closing a door on growth. But every time you say, "I can learn this if I put in the effort," you're opening a door to possibilities. The Stoics understood this centuries ago. Seneca wrote, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." And preparation starts with the belief that you can improve. But here's the challenge. A growth mindset isn't something you adopt once and keep forever. It's a daily choice. Each time you face failure, frustration, or fear, you have a decision to make. Will you retreat, or will you lean in? This brings us to the power of emotional mastery. Emotions are often seen as distractions, but in reality, they're signals. They reveal your fears, your desires, and your deepest motivations. The key isn't to suppress your emotions, it's to understand them. Let's take fear. For example, fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown. These fears can paralyze you, but they can also propel you forward if you let them. How? By reframing them. Instead of seeing fear as a stop sign, see it as a compass. Fear often points to what matters most to you. It's a signal that you're stepping outside your comfort zone, into the space where growth happens. Ask yourself, what's the fear you're avoiding right now? Is it starting something new, facing criticism, or admitting you don't know something? Whatever it is, that's your edge. That's where you need to go. But emotional mastery isn't just about fear. It's about resilience, the ability to bounce back from setbacks. Let me share a story. There was a young artist who spent months perfecting a piece, only to have it rejected by a gallery. Devastated, they considered quitting, but instead, they used the rejection as fuel. They studied their weaknesses, sought feedback, and created something even better. That second piece, it became their breakthrough. Resilience isn't just about enduring. It's about adapting. It's about seeing failure not as the end but as a step on the journey. And here's the surprising part. Resilience is a skill. It's something you can build through practice. One way to build resilience is through self-compassion. This might sound counterintuitive after all. Mastery requires pushing yourself, right? But self-compassion isn't about letting yourself off the hook. It's about recognizing that failure is part of the process and treating yourself with kindness in those moments. Think about it. Would you berate a friend for failing? Or would you encourage them to try again? Why should you treat yourself any differently? Self-compassion creates a safe space for growth, allowing you to take risks without fear of self-judgment. Now, let's talk about motivation. Motivation is often misunderstood. People think it's something you need to feel before you take action. But the truth is, action creates motivation, not the other way around. Imagine this: you sit down to learn something new, and it feels overwhelming. You're tempted to give up before you even start. But instead, you take one small step. You watch a tutorial, write a single paragraph, or practice for 5 minutes. That small action sparks momentum. And with momentum comes motivation. But motivation isn't just about starting. It's about sustaining. To sustain motivation, you need a clear why. Why does this skill matter to you? What will mastery give you that nothing else can? The more specific your why, the stronger your motivation. Let me ask you, what's your why? What's the deeper reason you want to master this skill? Is it to prove something to yourself? To create something meaningful? Or to serve a greater purpose? When you connect with your why, even the hardest challenges become meaningful. Every setback becomes a lesson. Every failure becomes a step forward. Finally, let's explore the power of visualization. This isn't about wishful thinking. It's about preparing your mind for success. Athletes use visualization to mentally rehearse their performance, creating a blueprint for their actions. You can do the same with your skill. Close your eyes and imagine yourself mastering the skill you're working on. See yourself performing with confidence, solving problems effortlessly, and enjoying the process. Visualization primes your brain for action, making it more likely you'll succeed. But here's the catch. Visualization works best when paired with effort. It's not enough to imagine success. You need to back it up with action. As we conclude this part, let's reflect on a question. What would your life look like if you fully committed to mastery? Picture the confidence, the opportunities, and the sense of fulfillment that come with it. In the next part, we'll uncover the strategies and habits that will make ultralearning a way of life. We'll explore how to design your environment, build systems, and stay consistent over the long term, turning ultralearning into a lifestyle. Habits, systems, and unstoppable consistency. Mastery isn't a one-time event. It's not a weekend challenge, nor is it the result of fleeting bursts of motivation. True mastery requires a system, a way of living that integrates learning into your daily existence. It's about consistency, habits, and an environment that aligns with your goals. In this part, we'll uncover how to turn ultralearning into a lifestyle, ensuring that your progress is sustainable and unstoppable. Let's start with this question. Do your daily habits reflect the person you want to become? The philosopher Aristotle once said, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. The foundation of ultralearning is built not on grand gestures but on small, consistent actions that compound over time. If you want to master a skill faster, you need to align your habits with your goals. The power of tiny habits. Let's begin with the smallest unit of change, the habit. James Clear, in his book Atomic Habits, emphasizes that tiny, incremental improvements, just 1% better every day, lead to massive transformations over time. But how do you create habits that stick? First, make it easy. Start small. If you want to write, commit to a single sentence a day. If you want to learn a language, practice one new word. The key is to lower the barrier to entry so that starting feels effortless. Next, link your new habit to an existing one. This is called habit stacking. For example, if you already drink coffee every morning, use that time to review a flashcard deck or jot down a creative idea. This creates a natural trigger, making your new habit feel like a seamless part of your routine. Now, let's go deeper. What's the one small habit you could start today that aligns with your goals? Designing your environment. Your environment plays a powerful role in shaping your behavior. Think about it. If your workspace is cluttered, your mind feels cluttered. If your phone is constantly buzzing with notifications, focus becomes impossible. To create an environment that supports ultralearning, start by removing distractions. This might mean silencing your phone, setting up a dedicated study space, or using tools like website blockers to stay on track. But don't just eliminate distractions. Add triggers that inspire action. If you're learning to play guitar, keep it visible and within reach. If you're writing, keep your notebook or laptop in a spot that invites you to sit down and start. Your environment should act as a constant reminder of your goals, nudging you toward action even when motivation wanes. The role of systems. Habits form the foundation, but systems are what keep the engine running. A system is a set of practices that guide your actions and keep you organized. Without a system, even the most disciplined habits can lose direction. One effective system is time blocking. Dedicate specific blocks of time to focus learning and treat them as non-negotiable appointments. During these blocks, eliminate multitasking. Single tasking, pouring your full attention into one activity, leads to deeper learning and higher quality results. But what happens when life gets in the way? This is where flexibility comes in. A good system isn't rigid. It adapts to change. If your schedule shifts, adjust your blocks but don't skip them entirely. Consistency matters more than perfection. Let's ask a deeper question here. What system could you create that would make mastery inevitable? Tracking progress. One of the most rewarding aspects of ultralearning is seeing how far you've come. Progress tracking turns abstract effort into tangible results, motivating you to keep going. Start by breaking your goal into smaller milestones. If you're learning a language, set targets like mastering 500 words or holding a basic conversation. If you're developing a technical skill, create a project that showcases your progress. Track your efforts daily. Use a journal, an app, or even a simple checklist. The act of recording your work reinforces the habit and gives you a sense of accomplishment. But here's the key. Don't just track what you did. Reflect on what you learned. Ask yourself, what worked? What didn't? How can I improve tomorrow? This process of self-assessment turns every day into an opportunity for growth, building resilience through reflection. Let's face it, there will be days when progress feels slow, when setbacks make you question your abilities. This is where resilience comes into play. One way to build resilience is through regular reflection. At the end of each week, review your efforts, celebrate your wins, no matter how small, and reframe your challenges as lessons. Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius practiced a daily reflection called premeditatio malorum, imagining the obstacles they might face and preparing their minds to handle them. You can do the same. Think about the potential roadblocks to your mastery and develop strategies to overcome them. Ask yourself, what's the biggest challenge you're facing right now? And how can you turn it into an opportunity for growth? Staying consistent over the long term. Consistency is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. But staying consistent requires more than willpower, it requires purpose. Reconnect with your why regularly. Remind yourself of the deeper reason you started this journey. Visualize the person you're becoming and the impact this skill will have on your life. But here's the twist. Allow yourself rest. Mastery isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. Burnout is the enemy of consistency. So build rest days into your system. Use this time to recharge, reflect, and reignite your passion. Finally, surround yourself with a community that supports your goals. Find mentors, peers, or even online groups who share your passion. Their encouragement and insights can keep you motivated when the journey feels tough. As we wrap up, let's reflect on a final question. If you fully committed to ultralearning as a lifestyle, what would you achieve in a year? This isn't just a thought experiment. It's a challenge, a call to action. Because the truth is, you already have everything you need to start. Mastery isn't reserved for the talented or the privileged. It's for anyone willing to put in the work, to embrace discomfort, and to keep going no matter what. And with that, your journey toward ultralearning begins.